For the next 3 weeks, we will be considering the characteristics of policy, as made evident in our readings, videos, and naturally so through our online discussions. While these characteristics are not exhaustive, they are represented here in the course and are discernible when we use critical policy analysis. A key consideration and feature of policy making is the ambiguity or inexactness of what a given policy actually means for practice. This, of course, can lead to confusion or frustration for teachers who perhaps are more keenly focused on what the policy means with respect to what they are actually required to do in the classroom. Take for, as an example, Every Student Succeeds Act, or before it, Race to the Top, or further still, No Child Left Behind. All words and phrases that have a meaning, but somewhat ambiguous in terms of what the actual language portends. Another characteristic that may seem like a paradox to the previous one is specificity. Frames are perhaps the most important feature of policymaking, as they determine what is reasonable, plausible, or legitimate to discuss. And specific frames are well crafted in order to appease or cater to specific groups of people. George Lakoff speaks of frames and makes a big distinction between conservative and progressive frames. What are they? How does he use as a metaphor the family to explain their differences? Now let's move on to discourse, or official discourse. By official, what is implied here are words, phrases, and text produced by decision makers or those who wield power. Policies are complex. Using the notion of ecology, we might, for example, think of policy being the result not only of powerful interests, but often powerful ideological positions or formations. In the process of crafting language into official texts, to be certain, ideological positions compete with each other, as written and reflecting somewhat of a compromise. It is no mystery to educators that political influence impacts or at least leaves an impression on policy making for better or worse. The normal give and take in Congress or state legislatures is an expected feature and part of the process of meeting or appearing to meet the constituents' interest. Nor is it news that the allocation of resources, or lack thereof, exudes a profound influence on what is considered viable for passage and implementation. Furthermore, it should be evident that policy making seeks to include and exclude any number of desirable outcomes or unintended consequences. Perhaps less examined or accounted for are what are often irrational influences on policy making. Extreme events create conditions that unfortunately open the door for reactive policy responses or imagined solutions.